Namaste and welcome back. In this video, I am going to explain the essential concepts that are required for learning the data structure. This will help the students who might have studied the computer programming in C a long back and they want to study these data structures using the C programming. So for them, this particular video will help to brush up the concept of the important topics such as arrays, functions, pointers, structures, and unions, which are required for developing data structures and algorithms concept or understanding the algorithms concept. So let us start. Array is a collection of homogeneous elements. So in order to do the array programming, so you take the you open the code blocks and first the basic thing for doing or for writing any C program is stdio.h, which is a standard input output.h. Then this is the basic C program that you look like. So in this you can declare any variables with some data types. The predefined data types that are available in C program are void, int, char, float, and double. So these are the various data types that are available in the C programming. So you can declare any variable like this. For example, I want to declare marks of 6 objects. So then the marks may be in integer form or maybe a float form. So for the simplification, I am taking in the integer form int mark1, comma mark2, comma mark3, mark4, mark5, and mark6. So here you can declare int mark1, mark2, mark3, mark4, mark5, mark6. So you may declare these marks individually or simply you can keep a data type followed by all the variable names. So since I have only 6 marks, so it's fine, well and good. But if I am having 10 marks to 10 marks to consider, then obviously I need to go for up to till mark 10. So if you keep on increasing the variable names like that, the program becomes too clumsy and very difficult to manage. So the reason there is a technique called array concept, which will help us in combining the homogeneous elements into a group, and thereby we will get a user-defined data type. So instead of declaring this 6 elements, what I will do is int mark of 6. So which means that there are 6 marks: mark 0, mark 1, mark 2, mark 3, mark 4, and mark 5. That means the mark is an array and which is holding 6 elements of type integer. So instead of keeping the first statement, I can place the second statement and I can work towards it. For example, if I want to initialize the marks value here itself, assume that this below statement is not there and the only above statement is there. Then if the int mark1 is equal to 10, mark2 is equal to some 25, like that some marks you are going to declare. So in the same way, if I want to declare in the array, so then what you can do is int mark6, instead of declaring the size of the array, whenever you go for declaring of the or initializing of the values of an array at the time of declaration, then you no need to declare the size of the array. So for that, what I'm doing is here 50, 60, 65, 70, then 75, 80. So like that, these are the marks that I have entered into an array, and at the time of declaring the array itself, I have initialized the elements. So now with this, you can physically see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements are there. So that is the reason you can physically see this and you can say that okay, 6 elements are there. But assume that you have been given only an array without having any size declared to it. So then how you will identify that this size is of, so then how to know the size of this particular array? So for this, simply printf percentage size of marks, or you can say number of elements in mark, or percentage d. Now we can say size of there is a size of operator which can be used for calculating the size of mark by size of data type. So here, what is the data type I have used here? It's integer. So that, but thereby what will happen is the entire size of the mark by size of the data type will give you the number of elements in the array. Now we'll see by building that how many elements are there in the array. So this is the icon for compiling, and this is icon for running of your code, and this icon is for both compiling and running of your code. So here, if you look at the number of elements in the mark are 6. That means 6 elements are there in this array. So this is the way how you can identify that how many elements are there in an array. That means whenever you declare or initialize an array at the time of declaration. So since there is no need of declaring the size, so that is the reason to know how many elements are there in the mark. So this is a simple procedure that you can adopt. Now I will use some more concepts in this. So int size. So I don't know what is the size here. So what I can do is size is equal to size of marks marked by size of integer. So the size will be assigned with the size of that is the number of elements in the mark. So now I can use this and I may use this size and I can declare or I can print the elements onto the screen with the help of for loop. For loop is a loop iterating the elements in the list or array. Usually the array element will always start from the index 0. So the reason we need to start the array index from 0 and need to print till the size of array is reached. And also remember, the variables must be declared in C programming at the beginning of the code. So in middle you cannot declare the variables. So the reason any variable must be declared at the beginning of the code. So the reason what I do is I will take an index I. I will declare index I here. So for this is for iterating purpose. So array index will always start from 0 in C programming. So I is equal to 0. So how long we need to iterate this particular array is till the size is reached. That means less than size. Less than size means since we have started with 0, we should go up to size less than size. That means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So size I plus plus. So this is the shortcut used in C programming, shortcut expression. I plus plus means I is equal to I plus 1. So you may use I plus plus or I is equal to I plus 1. For loop in which first the initialization, next condition, then increment or decrement operator. You may go for incrementing or you may go for decrementing. So here I have used the incrementation operator. I is equal, incrementation operation. I is equal to I plus 1. So for now, what I do is printf. So within double quotes, %d \n, comma mark of I. So it will print the elements that are there available in the mark. So now what we do is that we'll run this. We'll see print, not printf, printf. So it is printing the number of elements in the mark are 6, and the elements are like this: 50, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. Like. So this is the way how the elements can be printed onto the screen. So for the clear distinction, what I do is I will use \n, and you can, since you have used here plus 1, then the index will be incremented by 1. But if I use 2, then the index will be incremented by 2. So you are supposed to get the values 50, 65, 71, 75 on. So let us see whether these elements we got or not. Obviously, we got these elements 50, 65, and 75. So this is the way how you can print the elements in the array from the array. So that is the reason I is equal to I plus 2. Here, this means this particular index will be incremented by 2. Like that, if you place I plus 3, then the index will be incremented by 3, like that. So this is the way you can increment the value and print. And if you want to decrement for I is equal to 0, I less than, from size onwards, you need to go for I is equal to size minus 1, because the size value will not be there. Always the index will start from 0. That is the reason I is equal to size minus 1. I is equal to size minus 1. I is greater than 0, because we are starting from I size minus 1. We should give I is equal to 0. I greater than or equal to 0. I minus minus, you may use I minus minus, or I is equal to I minus 1. So previously we have given I is equal to I plus 1. Like that, you can also give I is equal to I minus 1 or I minus 1, comma, mark of I. So what it will do, it will print the elements in the reverse order. That means from the 5th index to the 0th index. So well, 50, 60, 65, 70, 75, till this time 80. Okay, till this time it will give you the first one. Then first incrementing loop. Next you got the decrementing loop, 80, 75, 70, 65, 60, and 50. So this is the way how the incrementation of the incrementing and decrementing operators can be used in the for loop, and you can print the elements in an array. So if you don't want to declare the array here, if you don't want to declare an array here, if you want to, that means if you don't want to initialize the array here and you want to declare only the array, then simply you can say mark of 6. That means you are supposed to declare the size of an array at the time of declaration. So whenever you initialize, then size is not required. Array index will always start from 0. You may use increment or decrement operator for printing the elements into the screen, element onto the screen, or if you want to go for manipulation of the elements in the array, then you may use for loop. So I'm enabling the previous statement. Now I may use any operation like incrementing, decrement, and I can go for summing up or subtracting the elements, or add some values to the elements. So like this, you can do any operation on the array. So this is the way how the single dimension arrays can be used. Now we move on to the multi-dimensional arrays. So the multi-dimensional arrays will be the single dimension means is in a unique direction, and multi-dimensional arrays will be having in row and column values. So here single dimension array means only one index value is sufficient, but in case of multi-dimensional array you need to have how many rows to and how many columns that particular elements should spread into, that must be mentioned. So the reason two indexes are required like this, mark of say for example 5. So in case of single dimension array, at the time of declaration, if you initialize an array, you no need to declare the array size. But in case of multi-dimensional array, the first row size may not be declared, because array index will always start from 0. But how long you are going to spreading the elements, or how long the size of the what is the size of the array must be declared. That is what is the maximum size. That means here 5 means it will grow up to 4 comma 4. That is, since the array index will always start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So total 5 elements. It means total 5 by 5 matrix can be prepared. So this is the way how you are supposed to use the multi-dimensional array. Now we'll see the two-dimensional array. In the two-dimensional array, here I have written two statements here: int matrix of 3 comma 3 and int row comma column. I told you just now that we need to have two indexes. that is for row value and one is for column value. So this is the way how you can define the two-dimensional array. Not definition, declaration. So you can declare the two-dimensional array. And if you want to declare, if you want to initialize the two-dimensional array at the time of declaration itself, just like your single-dimensional array that what you have seen here, you may also do like this. For example, you can do like int dmat of so whenever you declare initialize at the time of declaration, you don't need to define the row size, but column size must be defined. So that means I'm going to declare 3 by 3 matrix. So 1 comma 2 comma 3, and this is first row, and the second row is again should be enclosed in brackets 4 5 6, next 7 comma 8 comma 9, 7 comma 8 comma 9. So that means the first row is 1 2 3, second row is 4 5 6, and third row is 7 8 9. So this is the way you can initialize an array, the two-dimensional array, at the time of declaration. So now this is so this is the way you can declare this. So if you want to iterate this, you need to have an index for the row and another index for the column. Let us see how it can be done. So for example, for row is equal to 0 and row less than 3 and row plus plus. So you need to use a nested for loop here. For column is equal to 0, column less than 3, column plus plus, printf here percentile d, comma dmat of row and column. So that will give you the values of the corresponding rows and columns. So now, so this will give you the row corresponding row, and whenever the corresponding column is to be changed, then to indicate that just I am going to say to print in new line, so that you will get the matrix in the form of the new line. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So this is the way how things will be printed. So this is the way how the two-dimensional array will be printed. So in order to print the two-dimensional array, we need to use the nested for loop. For single-dimensional array, you can use simple for loop. So far we have seen the printing of elements that are already included into an array. So for that, in order to print onto the screen, we need to use printf statement. And in order to read the elements into the array, we need to use scanf statement. So scanf and printf are both input-output statements. So that is the reason we need to include stdio.h header file here. So we will see now how to scan the elements into an array. So here I have declared a matrix 3 by 3. So now what I will do is I will try to scan this or I will try to read the input into the matrix. So to read the elements into the matrix, we require a nested for loop. So previous nested for loop I am copying and pasting here. So here what I will do is instead of printf I will use scanf. Scanf percentile d, because I am going to read the integer elements. So percentile d is the format specifier for that, and I am going to read the matrix array matrix. So and when you are reading, you have to use an ampersand symbol, so that the whatever the value you have read that will be placed in a memory location. So once this scanf was done, that is once the reading was done, then you are supposed to print it so that you will come to know how to read the values and how to print the values. So the same for loop I am using here, and the same for loop which is used for printing the DMAT matrix. In the same way, I am using it for printing the scanned elements into the matrix array. So here matrix. Now we'll see how this particular program will read the elements and print the elements. Now you look at the number of elements in the matrix are 6. So the previous output we got. Now here the cursor was stopped here. Now what I will do is I will enter the things like 1 0 1 space 0 space 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. So whatever the elements I have typed, the same elements was printed here. So this is the way how you are supposed to read the elements and print the elements. So the same thing is true for the single dimensional array also. However, for single dimensional array, you will use a simple for loop. For multi-dimensional array, you are supposed to use how many dimensions of the array that you take, that many nested for loops you are supposed to consider. And one more thing is you can also use macros like hash define max 30. That means it is a macro that will represent as a constant value. This max can be used to declare the size of a array. So here I will use like this int stack of max. So that means I'm going to declare an array called stack which consisting of the size 30. So this is what the meaning. So I can use this macro anywhere in the program. So wherever the macro is appeared, there the corresponding value will be substituted. So this is the way how can we use the macros. So that means these are the various ways of declaring an array, and we have already seen how to manipulate an array. If you want to iterate throughout all the indexes of the array, then you are supposed to use for loop. Otherwise, if I want to print only the specific element what I require from the array, then what you are supposed to do is you simply use the index of that particular element. Say if you want to print an element like this, printf fourth location value %d. Here fourth location value means here you look at here fourth location value of the marks. So now I want to get the fourth location value of marks. What is the fourth location? 1 2 3 4, but the array index will start from 0. So 0 1 2 3. So I need to call the third index so that the fourth value, fourth element in the matrix you will get it. So now matrix mark of 3. So then you will get the fourth element in the matrix because in the array, because the array will always start from the index 0. Now let will run this. Now here the fourth location value is 70. So here 7050 we got here. Actually 50 is to come in the next line because we have not placed \n. So fourth location value is 70 here. So this is the way how we can print a particular location in an array. Not only this one, we can also print the same way for the two-dimensional array also. Now I want to print a two-dimensional array element like a DMAT of 1 comma 1. That means location 1 1. So this is 0th location 0 0 0 1 0 2 1 0 1 1. So 5 has to be printed here. Now what I will do is I will run it again and we'll see whether we got 5 or not, right? Fourth location value is 5. So this is the way how we will get the values with the specific indexes that we provided in the using the printf statement. So this is the way how we can access the single dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays. How can you print the elements from the single dimensional array and multi-dimensional array, and at the same time how to scan the elements from the both single and multi-dimensional array. This is about the single and multi-dimensional arrays. Next we'll move on to the next topic. So the next topic in the list is functions. Basically, the functions are very important structures that we are going to use in any programming. Basically, if we want to repeat a set of statements for multiple times for different inputs, then it is better to include those statements in a structure called functions. This functions in C programming will be having a function name and set of parameters that may be provided to the list of statements that you include in the functions. So these functions can be defined or can be used in a C programming in 3 steps. The steps are like this. So the functions are used in using 3 steps. First step is function declaration. First of all, what are the functions that you want to use in the C program must be declared. Second one is you have to define the function, and then you can call the function anywhere in the program wherever it is required by supplying the necessary arguments or without arguments also. The arguments are the parameters that you pass at the time of function declaration are said to be formal parameters. Formal parameters are formal arguments, where in case of the parameters are the values that you pass at the time of function calling are said to be actual parameters or actual arguments. So now I will do one thing here. I will write a small program for the demonstration of the functions. So as usual, we'll go for including of stdio.h. So the syntax of the function is return type. Here return type is void I'm using, and add so int comma int. So this is a simple thing that the simple function I'm writing here. This is the function declaration, step 1. Next is function definition, void add of int a comma int b. So here simple what I'm doing is printf percentile d a plus b. This is what I am printing. Next is void main. Either you use void main or integer main. Whenever you use integer main, you may return the value, some value like return success or failure. Void main, you don't need to return any value in this. So here what I'm doing is I'm simply calling the function add by passing the parameters 10 comma 15. So obviously it will give you the value 10 plus 15, which is 25. So here you find 25 as the answer that you got here. So what are the parameters that you pass at the time of function declaration are said to be formal parameters. The values are the parameters that you pass at the time of function calling are said to be actual parameters. So at the time of function declaration, no need to declare the variable name for the parameter type, but at the time of function definition, you need to write it. So this is at the time of function definition you are supposed to do it. Next one is at the time of function declaration, you are defining that this particular function is may get an integer value. So that means what value it will get, you don't know. So formally you are saying that okay, this function is going to take the integer parameter. But what actually it is taking of integer type, that is actual parameter. So in this function calling, you will find 10, 15, which are said to be actual parameters that you are supposed to include in this. So here so far we have seen only simple simple data types that you are going to include in this. Now I can also define an. Now I did some modification in this. For example, void add of int array. Previously we have passed simple values or simple parameter. Now what I'm going to do is I want to pass an array. So that is the reason we are supposed to place like this during function declaration. It means that some array is going to be passed in. Next is integer. Next is integer. This integer is especially for the size of the array, and this integer for some value that I want to add to elements in the array. Now we are going for the function definition. That means whatever the return type, function name, and the parameters that you supply during the function declaration must match with the function definition. That means if you write, if you miss any argument, then uh, then the program will not compile. The reason is the function declaration, the parameters that are available at the function declaration are not matching with the function definition. So this return type of function name and the parameters are said to be the function signature. So the function signature at the time of function declaration and definition must match. Now void add of int a. So here this is an array. Here I am not mentioning any size here. No need to mention the size, but you give the size as a parameter in the same function. Next one is the int val. Okay, that is the value I want to supply to this function, so that this value will be added to every element in the given array. Now to iterate, I'm going to use a variable called int I. For I is equal to 0, I less than size I plus plus, a of I is equal to a of I plus value. So that is what the mean that this particular value is going to be added to every element in the array. So now I am writing the main method. For that I have chosen void main int x. Here in the previous section we have seen in order to declare a variable, in order to declare an array, that means while declaring array, if you want to initialize the elements, then no need to define the no need to give the size of the array. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So these are the array elements that were provided in the array. Now int I add of x comma 5 comma 10. Now what is this x? X is a parameter. X is an array. So this is the array that I have provided here. So I'm going to pass the array name. If you pass the array name, it is sufficient. So because the array name itself indicates the address of the first location. Now the number of elements in the array are 5. So that is the size of the array. Here what is the size of the array that I have mentioned here? That is the size of the array. Next is the value that I want to add to each and every element in the array. Now I want to add 10 as a value to each and every element in the array. So for I is equal to 0, I less than size of x by size of int, the same thing what we have seen previously to know the number of elements in the array. The same technique I have used here. Next is I plus plus. Printf x of I. Now what would be the output we'll get? So we'll get the output like since 10 to be added to each and every element. So we'll get the output as 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. That will see whether we get the output or not. So as we expected, the output what we got is 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So this is the output we'll get. Now I will add one more function. So this is for another demonstration. Void add of int comma int. It's a simple way of addition that so two function names should not be same. So the reason I'm going to make some changes, like say for example d add. So now what I'm doing, I'm going to define the dadd, void dadd of int a comma int b. Then a is equal to a plus b. This is a simple statement I'm going to make. Now after this, I would like to call dadd of dadd of 10 comma, or we can say we will define one variable here, x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 10. Now x comma y, x comma y. Now printf x value is %d comma. So I made some modification in this. Instead of x comma y, because x already allotted to the array, a comma b I have mentioned here. Now that will compile and we'll see. Well, a value is 10. So here we got the output as a value is 10. But as per our expectation, a is equal to a plus b means the parameters that I have passed is a is 10 and b is 10. So a must be 10, but a must be 20. But what is the value we got here is 10. The reason is, whatever the values that you pass to a function will not be reflected even though you do any manipulations within a function. Such kind of passing of parameters are said to be called by value or passed by value, which are said to be called by value. Okay. So this is a parameter passing mechanism. That means whenever you pass a parameter to a function, then that parameter will not be get affected or maybe modified within the function if you do any modification. So such kind of parameter passing mechanism is said to be called by value mechanism. Where in case of there exists another mechanism like just now what we have seen, add of x comma 5 comma 10, in which every element in the array was added with the value that we supplied. So this is the method of and whenever the function is completed, outside of this function call, after this function call, whatever the statement you have written, that is a for loop to print the elements in the array. So this elements printing is going to be printed by adding the value that I want to add to the every element in the array. So that is, we have seen that output we got is 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. That means 10 value is added to every element in the list or array. So this is the way we got this. So that means whatever the changes you made in the function was reflected after the function call. So this way of doing or this way of parameter passing mechanism is said to be called by reference. Usually call by reference, we call parameter passing mechanism as a call by reference when we pass an address to a function. Where in case of call by value, we should pass a value to a function. So in call by value, we'll pass an address. Here we have passed the address. The reason is array name itself indicates the address of the first location. Where in case of a and b are the normal data values, that is a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 20, that we have supplied to the dadd. So which is called call by value. So these two are the popular parameter passing mechanisms that are available in C programming. That is, one is call by value and one is call by reference. So the default parameter passing mechanism that is used in C programming is call by value. Next, whatever the functions we have seen so far are having the return type as void. That means these functions are not returning any value. But however, apart from void, we can also use any other data type that was available in the C programming. What are the other data types available? Void, int, char, float, or double. So these are the default data types available in C programming. Either the data type that it may return may be a user defined data type or maybe a predefined data type. This void, int, char, float, double are the predefined data types. So these predefined data types may be returned or maybe any user defined data type such as structure or union or maybe pointer, any kind of thing can be returned. But whenever you return any kind of these data types, then you are supposed to use a function, a particular statement called return. Return and the corresponding value. So this is the way you are supposed to use the return type. So for example, I am modifying this dadd from int. So from void to int I have changed. So you are supposed to mention the return value like this. Return a is equal to a plus. So that means this particular value is returning this one. Now I will do small modification in this. So here printf a value is directly I am calling the function here. That means this entire value, this entire function is resulting into a is equal to a plus b. So the integer value will be finally returned back. So the reason this entire function after the execution will lead to a single integer value. In order to print that integer value, we have used %d here. So obviously this %d is for the integer value representation, and whatever the resultant value we'll get after executing this function is also integer type. So that reason both were matched. So this particular statement will not give you any error. So this particular function will execute successfully. That we'll see whether we'll get the output or not. And it is saying that there is a problem with this function declaration, because in function declaration we have mentioned void, but during the function definition we have mentioned it as integer. So that is the reason, as I told you previously, the function declaration, the signature of the function declaration and function definition must match. Now we will build and run. So the building and running is successful. Now the a value is 20. So whatever the a value is there, that is going to be printed. Now because a is equal to a plus b I have mentioned, so obviously it is going to give you the corresponding value. So this is the way how the function return statement will be used whenever you use return type in the function declaration, or if you use return type in the function. So these return types can be written in several ways, like a possible return statement. So you may use simple return and simply semicolon. So whenever you say simple return, then the control will be shifted to the calling function to the callee function. That means if the main method is calling so and so x or y z function, in that x y z function, if you might have written simple return statement, now the control will be shifted back to the main method. So this is the way how the simple return works. You may use simple return or return some constant or some return expression, return address, or return array value, or return simple pointer type, or return structure type, or return maybe return, you can return anything, return function, you may also return function. So again that function will again lead to some return type. So this is the way. So whenever this particular returning of function will be used again and again in case of recursive functions. In case of recursive functions, we'll call the same function again and again sometimes. So in order to till the the function will be called till an exit condition is reached. So like this, we can use any kind of structure with return. So these are the possible return statements that you can use, or you may use in different ways, like returning of some fixed number or fixed value, or maybe any other, whatever the thing you require to implement according to the problem situation, that you can use it. So this is what the functions usage in C programming. So far we have seen, in order to go for functions, first of all we need to declare the function, next to use the definition, function definition, next function calling. The parameters that are passed at the time of function declaration are said to be formal parameters, and the parameters that are declared are used at the time of function calling are said to be actual parameters. So the function parameters to a function can be passed in two ways. One is by call by value, another is by call by reference. In call by value, before and after function call, there will not be any change in the value that you supply. But in case of call by reference, before and after function call, the corresponding values will change. And we can also use return statement to return some value from a function. The return statements are in the several ways, like simple return constant, return expression, return address, like that. So many other forms are there for the return. So this is up to the functions.